All right, I'm gonna pause that right there. So that last song we heard was "Blue Outer Space," and off air, I was telling Reese that since I work at home, I listen to a lot of psychedelic, stoner, space rock. It goes by different monikers, and that's something that I could really work to. It really is. It was really good.
Thank you very much. I kind of had that in mind while I was, or I'm not sure if I had it in mind while I was writing it, but when I was recording it, I was like, this is not bad music to go take a drive to, or just put on in the background and kind of go about your daily affairs in.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hypnotic, enjoyable.
Right.
So, like, say the first song, XOXO, like, what was your inspiration behind that?
I wrote that for my friend. I realized that I had written a song for just about all of my friends except for her, and I told her as such, and she let me have it and said, "You better write a song for me." So I I just whipped that one out, and it's kind of about writing a song for somebody to express your admiration for them. So I thought that was a fitting tribute.
That's nice. You have a very nice vocabulary.
Thank
I
you.
Thought I would tell you that. I don't know if anybody's ever mentioned that to you before.
Oh, I don't know. I guess people have told me I'm verbose before. So
your attributes, serendipitous, going by your daily affairs. I love it. It's just wonderful.
I try and keep it interesting.
I can definitely
Thank you.
see it. Very nice. Make It Right. That was song 2. Tell me about that.
That is a sister track to a song that I wrote on a couple of releases ago. That was one that I recorded in college called It Has to Be Tonight. Mm-hmm. They share kind of a similar chorus. And this song, I kind of based it off of fingering positions for the song Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You by Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
It's a riff that I've been playing for, I don't know, forever, 10 years probably, I would say. I've been playing that riff kind of, and I eventually decided that it deserved its own song. So yeah, and that song's just about turning a corner and like being positive in your life and taking charge of the situation and
That's nice.
trying to be positive.
So that's the happy part.
Exactly,
of the album.
exactly.
That's good. And then From God.
From God is it's a conversation with a godlike entity, and it's just basically about finding yourself and getting the permission to be who you are, which I think is really important in this day and age, is to kind of find your identity and be the person that you want to be. So
Sure is.
I
My
thought
wife
that was
and I were talking about that, and a lot of things kind of come up in this day and age, and it's just pretty amazing how the kind of conversations we're allowed to have versus like 10, 20 years ago that you just couldn't even have. And we had this discussion about cross country. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They played at the Wilma.
Oh yeah.
And so
yeah,
we went and
absolutely.
saw it, and it was really great. And we'd seen some people, kind of questioning whether or not like heterosexual cisgendered people are allowed to appropriate kind of that drag type environment and stuff. And so there was a lot of back and forth, not between her and I, but just listening to everybody regarding the situation. But we were looking at some documentaries and some things about it, and this line that came out that she pointed out to me I thought was really great. And it was like, we're all born naked, the rest is just drag. And I just thought it was really cool. And
point.
just to kind of piggyback on what you had said about, having permission to be yourself. And so I think that is really great about, 2018 and the time we live in.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And then Blue Outer Space, I love that. Like I said, that's the one that really stuck with me.
Thank
me
you.
about that.
That's probably one of the more bass-heavy songs that you're going to hear out of me.
Maybe that's why I like it.
Yeah, it's got definitely a good bass foundation. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, and obviously I like kind of those spacey sequences. And that song's just kind of about making a connection with somebody, and there's just kind of that feeling where you'd feel like you're just kind of up in the air and like you're taking flight almost.
I like it.
So there's kind of that countdown sequence and everything in there that was a ton of fun to make. Yeah, I'm very fond of that song. I was really pleased with the way that it turned out.
Good, man. Me too.
Thank you.
So what are you doing here? What instruments are you playing? I see you have some samples you've taken.
Yeah. I tried to give everybody credit for those as much as possible. I really appreciate. They were all kind of open source samples that I just took from online.
I'm a big fan of that stuff.
Yeah. I really appreciate that people are willing to just go out there and record
Sure.
stuff, and I think it gives them a chance to kind of practice their art, and I think it's awesome that they're willing to share. So
Looks like freesound.org is a big one for you.
Yeah, definitely. That was a great resource for sure.
And then your album art, I really like it, and it looks like you had Maggie Parsons.
That's right. Yeah,
Tell me about Maggie.
Maggie's a friend of mine from the time I was 14. I think she was about 16. We went to high school together. In fact, I just attended her wedding up in Kalispell. So
very nice.
Congratulations, Maggie.
Yeah.
She is on Instagram under Magpie Woodland Arts. She's a fantastic artist.
I can see that.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the stuff that she does. This is the second piece of art that she's done for me.
I like it. It's very nice. So Magpie Woodland Arts. It's Maggie Parsons on Instagram. And again, we're listening to Happy Crappy by Reese Hoeg, long O.
That's right.
And so it's available on Bandcamp, and it's Hoeg, Hoeg. Very nice. So what instruments are you playing on this?
So I get started. I kind of like to do challenges for myself over the course of recording a project, and for this one, there's kind of a wave motif that's occurring over the course of the album. So I wanted to do kind of shifting from acoustic stylings to more electric stylings, and then back and forth between the two over the course of the tracks. So I had to kind of record everything twice and then kind of fade them in and out over top of each other. So with that said, I got started with it's a Paco classical guitar. That's the first guitar that you hear on there.
With the nylon strings?
That's right, yeah. And it has kind of a fun, like, flamenco feel to it. I love playing that guitar. We actually wrote a song about that guitar in Easter Island, so it's one of our favorite songs to play. Cool. And Paco has his own mythos attached to him, so he's well loved. The other guitar the other acoustic guitar that it slides into is it's just a basic Fender acoustic guitar. I'm not really sure what the model is of it, but it's about as ordinary as it gets when it comes to Fender acoustics. The electric guitars that I eventually slide into on Blue Outer Space are the white Gibson SG that Neil, my guitar player, plays in Easter Island. And I used Nate, who is my drummer's amplifier. It's a Fender Mustang. And it has a bunch of preset effects on it. So
I know which one. It's got those digital effects.
I loved playing around with those. And some people really get into some people don't like pre-made effects and stuff, but I don't mind too much.
Just depends on how they sound.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they got such a bad rap because they used to sound really bad. And then as obviously technology has progressed, they're definitely really great.
Sure. I had no issues with using them on this recording, so...
It sounds great to me.
Thank you. Bass guitar-wise, I was using the same bass that I used for Easter Island, and we have just a really small single-speaker Behringer amp that I practice with, and I didn't want to blow up my house when I was recording, so I just used that for this recording.
Were you miking it, or did you run it direct?
I was miking it. I mic'd everything that you hear on here, yeah. I also have I think it's a Yamaha keyboard, and that's all of the synth effects you hear in the background are all done.
So were you miking it with like a USB mic into your interface type deal?
That's right. Yeah. It's I'm not sure the specifics, but it's like a 3.5 that goes into a guitar style plug-in that goes into the interface, and then that goes straight into the computer.
It's just something. It sounds really good, and
Thank you.
It's just amazing how the things that we can produce these days from our bedroom. You know, that is something. I remember my old guitar player from way back in the day is a great musician, and he actually got his first degree in audio engineering.
Gotcha.
And this was analog audio. I'm an old guy. I just turned 40.
Okay.
And so this is analog audio engineering. And then it was probably 3 or 4 years after he got his degree that everything changed. And he's got his own little studio, and he's kept up with the times.
Right.
But who just would have thought? You know? Same with making films too. And
yeah, absolutely.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. No, I mean it's really wonderful that it's so available for people like me. I was just a 13-year-old kid that wanted to make some music, and I had a number of options available, and I eventually just settled on recording straight on my computer because it was so easy. And I must say, the program that I use is a free program called Audacity. It's an open source program, and there are a lot of user-created plugins for it that work extremely well. I can't hype it up enough. I love that program. I've been using it for over 10 years.
I'm familiar with it. I do something else for myself, but it's an inexpensive one that I do.
Right.
But I'm a big fan about the open source. There's so many things you can find.
Absolutely.
It's just incredible. Like animation software, like video editing software.
Yeah, they have it all. It's incredible.
It is. Well, very nice. You've mentioned Easter Island a few times. Your bandmates from Easter Island. Why are we not listening to Easter Island?
We are working on that. We were trying to rectify that situation as soon as possible.
Where are you at?
Well, we have a single EP recorded. It's about 20 minutes worth of music, 5 tracks. And the biggest thing that's standing in the way of us releasing it at the moment is finding some album art. So
don't you have an album artist here?
I do have the hookup.
Yeah,
I need
looks
to
like it.
I need to get everybody on board with what we're going to do. We want to make sure that we're being true to ourselves conceptually, and that everybody is in agreement, because it's a team, you know.
Well, what is your concept?
Well, we kind of like the Easter Island motif, the Easter Island heads.
You were in a Hawaiian shirt, like when I saw you guys play. I like that.
My Tecate shirt. Yes, I love that shirt. I was very pleased. A lucky Goodwill find.
Very nice.
It was nice and warm on a 100 degree July day, but yeah, I mean, my brother kind of designed a concept of like an Easter Island head that has bunny ears, and then that's one side of the shirt, and then on the other side of the shirt is like a hungover bunny head, which is kind of comical to me, because we like to go hang out with everybody after the show and party it up with them as much as possible. So
nice.
Sometimes we do feel that way the next day.
Well, tell me a little bit about Easter Island, like how you guys came to be, your bandmates.
Yeah, Easter Island was a Stone of Accord band. It was 3 guys that worked at Stone of Accord together, and they all just happened to be fantastic musicians. So my guitar player Neil started out on bass, and Nate's always been the drummer. He's just a phenomenal drummer, a force of nature. And at the time, there was a guy named Ian that was playing with us, and he was playing guitar and singing. And eventually, I was friends with Neil for a long time before that, and I would come and open for them, so to speak, with my solo material at open mics and stuff. And then eventually, Neil went away to be a wildland firefighter for the summer, and the other bandmates wanted to keep gigging because we had some shows lined up. So they brought me on to play bass, and I had never played bass before, really. I hadn't spent much time with the instrument, and I thought of it as a good learning experience, and I also just, always wanted to be in a band. I always thought it would be great to collaborate with other people. So they brought me on, and then eventually Neil came back from firefighting. We did a couple of shows as a 4-piece, and then eventually Ian took off, and we just completely just retooled the band. We're Easter Island 2.0 at this point, so I'm really pleased with the way that things have come together. I think it's been about 3.5 years now that we've been playing together,
Okay.
so we have a good team-like presence with each other, so
That's important, and
Yeah.
we already talked about the benefit of the trio.
yes,
It's
absolutely.
less personalities that are
Right.
conflicting, and then easier scheduling.
Mhm.
I will forgive you being a guitar player who moved over to bass.
Right.
You are forgiven.
Well, I
That's
try
all
and
right.
I try and do a little bit of everything, so I'm really pleased that I can call myself a bassist. And,
Are you? I couldn't remember. Are you finger styling, or are you using a pick?
I'm a pick guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Interpol fan, and I know the bassist for Interpol uses a pick. So
There are
that,
some that do. Chris
that allowed me the
Squire-
opportunity.
Chris Squire uses a pick. You can't. There's
Sure.
a lot of great bassists that use a pick. Bobby
Right.
Bender.
I would love to learn how to do it fingerstyle for sure. I honestly, people that play bass well look like magicians to me, because they.
It's not as hard as you think. The first 4 years of my professional career, I would say, my music career, I played a pick. And then I had a little bit of a layoff, and then started another band, and I just said, I am going to learn how to play with my
Right.
fingers in this band. And then when I hold a pick now, it's very unnatural.
Sure.
I don't even use a pick when I play the guitar. I just use my fingers.
Gotcha.
It's a little unnatural. And I'm trying to add this finger to
Right.
my ring finger on that hand.
Right.
And I use my thumb a lot. And
I watched a video of Mark Knopfler explaining his finger playing technique the other day, and also just magicianship.
it is musicianship. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Well, so what's next for Easter Island?
We want to do this release. We want to record some more. We keep getting shows lined up by the grace of God.
You have a good show coming up? Anything important?
Yes, absolutely. This Friday, Free Cycles.
Oh, what's going on this Friday at Free Cycles?
We're playing with Fate's Fortune, Jupiter Beat. There's awesome comedian Dwayne Rader.
Yes, sir.
And it's all put together by the KFGM staff. There's going to be food, drinks. It should be a wonderful night. We're going to do it relatively early, too, so everybody can kind of hit the sack early if they want to, or we can go downtown and have a good time as well.
That was great, dude. You did that just right. That was just wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the goal. I'm putting this one on, and I'm really trying to, build that experience and let people know that it's going to start on time, it's going to end on time, and then so that means you can go home like so many people might want to do, and I really feel that late shows around Missoula keep a lot of people from coming out.
Right.
And then you still have the ability, like we said, to go out because they got a lot of great shows playing on. What is coming up that day? I wanted to, since we're on it. So let's see. So what do we have? I think there was something pretty cool that was playing after us, and it's Claws Out with Mr. Moo and Utterly Delightfuls at Monk's.
Oh, yeah.
And that looks pretty cool. I don't know if I'll be able to swing by because I'll be breaking everything down and taking care of that.
Sure.
But that looks really great. And so you'll be able to go do that. You'll be able to go see our show. And then after that, go check that out, which will be just wonderful.
Absolutely.
And then after our show ends tonight, the Agreeable Bassist show, we have Laugh Your Socks Off, stand-up comedy sock drive for the POV, for the POV. It's at the Badlander, so cost of admission is one pair of new warm socks.
Oh, awesome.
And so Sarah Aswell is headlining on that one. Hopefully I'll get her to do some comedy for us pretty soon.
That sounds wonderful.
Her career seems to be really taking off. Really proud of her.
Yeah.
And then Saturday we have the Jones Inn Acoustic Trio. They're going to be playing at Finn and Porter for 3 hours, so that'll be nice and laid back. And then I'm probably going to go to this one, 8 o'clock on Saturday, movie Cult at the Roxy, an American Werewolf in London.
Oh, man.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I've been meaning to for
How old
years
are
and
you
years and
anyway?
years now. I turned 26 in August.
26. Well, happy birthday,
Thank you.
youngster. American Werewolf in London. Rick Baker did the special effects on that. Are you familiar who he is?
I am not familiar of him specifically, but I have seen dozens of clips from the film. It's almost as if I've seen the film split up
Understood.
into individual segments, just never as a one cohesive
Well, it's got
whole.
strong effects.
Right.
Rick Baker was like the master of practical effects.
Okay.
So we're talking, he did every movie that had great effects in the late 70s, 80s, early 90s was Rick Baker.
Excellent.
So like Aliens and, I mean, just you name it.
Sure.
So it's got really wonderful effects in that movie. And I remember watching An American Werewolf in Paris. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen that one either,
It's
unfortunately.
terrible.
Okay.
But it was like at the beginnings of CGI.
Okay.
And which just is even worse.
Right. I think I remember that one coming out when I was in my youth.
So bad.
Yeah.
So that probably came out around the late 90s, I would say.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then so that'll be there. And then to help recover your weekend, on Sunday from 11 to 2 is, as always, Beers and Brunch at the Byron Brewing Company. And then I don't know about this. So Sunday night I got invited, and you might be able to tell me about this. I'm pretty sure it's a house party. So Flavortown.
Flavortown, yeah.
Yeah.
We played a show there one time.
Did you now? So I got invited to go do that. I don't know if I'm going to go or not. It's one of those deals you have to reach out to get the address so that
Yes,
way.
yes, indeed.
Because the house party is pretty big around here.
Yeah, the house party scene is really amazing these days.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that house party scene.
It's really cool because it's all DIY style stuff. It's all people that you run into on the street. You're people that are serving you coffee, people that are serving you ice cream. Those are the people that are involved in those typically, and they have really like on the down low rootsy connections to people. They're all people that we went to college with, etc. I mean, everybody's kind of connected in a weird way in this town. So it's always a pleasure to go and play those things because there's nothing quite like a house party. A house party is its own distinct experience, and then you get to tack a great night of music on top of that, which is just absolutely wonderful.
People are pretty respectful in those situations.
They are, yeah. People just come and they rage and they have a good time. They're always dancing and singing along if they know the words. And one of my favorite house party experiences was watching my friends in Wojciech playing at a house on 6th Street at like midnight and watching the cops walk in the front door, which was right next to the band, and just having the cops walk over to the band and just being like, "What are you guys doing?" It was really comical to me.
That sounds good. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've passed it. You know, like I said, I just turned 40 like 12 days ago, my
Sure.
40th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. we had a really good birthday party. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So I feel like I've kind of passed that,
Sure.
but I don't know. I could be that creepy old guy that like hangs out with all you 20-somethings.
I see people of all walks of life there,
bet
people
you
of all
do.
ages. We try and be as inclusive as possible. I
I
think,
bet you
so,
do. And I had a
yeah.
lot of those guys when I was younger, and
Right.
we enjoyed them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. And then Monday we got Finding Neverland. That looks to be great. And Highline Comedy at the VFW. And then we got some really good shows coming up the week after next that I'm real excited about. We got November 23rd in the Union Hall right above us. It's Blackout Bingo. So it's
yes.
our anti-black, Black Friday party.
Right.
You know, we're going to rage against that corporate deal.
Yes.
Punk show. So it's going to be really great. That'll be at 8 p.m. on Friday until late, Friday the 23rd. And then on the 24th, I'm real excited about this one, and I'm definitely going to go to it. So we got the Magpies, we got Fools, and we got Protest Kids playing at the Top Hat. Protest Kids actually played at my birthday party.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, they're really great. I like those guys a lot. They just put out a new album, and so this will be their album release party.
Awesome.
I actually listened to it a couple times today. It's really good.
Awesome. I definitely won't miss that one. That sounds absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a free show, and so that'll be the 24th. Again, it doesn't start till 10:15.
Right.
But I'm gonna suck it up and do it because the Sunday after I might just go to Beers and Brunch at Byron Brewery.
Right. There you go.
Nico Case coming to the Wilma. I don't know if I'll do that or not. And then on the 30th, it's a nominal fee. I highly recommend people check this out. We were talking about Wave and Circuit, so it's a songwriter circle. Did you know that's coming up?
I did not know that was happening.
I think you're going to like this. You might be
Okay.
really interested in it. I'm definitely going to go. So basically, you're going to join songwriters Anthony Lamar Brown, Rebecca Kelly, Jordan Smith, and Maggie McDonald for an intimate night of songs and storytelling at Wave and Circuit. It's a $5 suggested donation. So it's a songwriter circle. And so we got like these great songwriters, and they're just going to kind of play their music, talk about their inspiration behind it in a real intimate setting. So I'm real excited.
Totally.
So I'm definitely going to check that out. Wave and Circuit's a great place. They're doing a lot of great things.
Yeah, super
for
cool venue.
Local musicians out here. So that's coming up. So yeah, so we got, again, per usual, a lot of great things
Right.
around Missoula. Like, so many things. It's just wonderful.
It's hard to keep up with.
It is hard to keep up with because this is just stuff that I have marked interested.
Right.
So there's so many things that I didn't commit to by any means that I'm bypassing.
Right.
But it is my show, so
Sure.
I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about.
Right. That makes sense to me.
And we'll go from there. But that'll be good. I also wanted to say, so we are at 6:48. Where is it? So Crawdaddy will be on at 8, and Crawdaddy's actually going to take a page out of this book, and he's actually going to be interviewing a band. I'm trying to remember who it was he was interviewing. He had said that the River City Players. So are you familiar with those guys?
I don't think so.
So they kind of got a New Orleans brass feel.
Okay.
Because Crawdaddy does From the Big Easy to the Big Sky, so all his music is very New Orleans centric.
Nice. Yes.
And being from Southeast Texas, I was like 60 miles from Louisiana.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time there and in New Orleans, and
For
so
sure.
they're horn centric River City jazz players, just kind of rock and jazz. So it's going to be really awesome. They're going to have 2 members. I'm not sure which 2. Are going to come in and interview with it. So
Excellent.
Sure to be a really good show. Do you find yourself listening to horn music? Anything like that? Jazz, horn stuff?
Yeah. In fact, I one of my songs later on was inspired directly by "Kind of Blue" by Miles Davis.
Are you playing the trumpet?
I'm not, unfortunately. It's all synthesized, which makes me sad. I really wanted to find a way to get somebody who could actually play some instruments in there, but that's all right. I mean, there's definitely the inspiration in there, and I love to soak it up as much as possible. So I think that's a great way to kind of have a diverse skill set when it comes to music, is just to listen to as much different stuff as possible.
That's true, man.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything like that you listen to that has an odd influence?
An odd influence.
I don't know. Like I was in a band way back in the day, and we were our drummer basically took drum beats from like Clutch,
Mm-hmm.
and he also took drum beats from like SR-71.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who that is? Like really old hip hop, SR-71, and Clutch.
I've heard of them.
Like heavy, hard rock, and
Right.
we were neither of those.
Yeah.
And it just was neat. Like if you listen to Weezer, do you ever listen to Weezer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's got some very metal-ish type beats that just.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I mean, if some of your influences, you mentioned the horns, if you're got anything odd behind it.
Gotcha.
Say odd, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, in Easter Island, we try and play as many different styles as possible. We have, I mentioned the song Paco earlier. That's a Western-themed song that has, it's like basically a surf rock song that's Western themed that has like a weird like funk breakdown in the middle.
That's cool.
So we try to do a little bit of everything, and sometimes everything in one song at a time. I don't know.
I like that too.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have heard of Writ Large. They're a really fantastic band, local. They're relatively new. I think within the last year they got going.
It sounds familiar to me. Is it like WRIT?
That's right. Yeah, I saw them play a set the other day though, and they did a cover of Clint Eastwood by Gorillaz.
Oh, cool.
And they're typically a rock band, so it was really a pleasure to see them do something like that, just step completely out of their, I don't know if it was out of their comfort zone per se, but it was just something that you wouldn't expect normally.
I get a kick out of that whenever I go watch a band and I see them do some weird, iconic cover that's completely out of their wheelhouse. I'm a big fan of that. Like, I really like it.
For
I had a band, we used to do like Friends in Low Places.
Yeah.
And then we would like rock it out. Like,
Yeah.
play it correctly the first half and then turn it in.
Yeah.
And that was always a lot of fun. And one of my favorite bands, and I doubt you know who these guys are, but I highly recommend you check them out. They're based out of Austin, Texas, and they're called Shiny Ribs.
Okay.
And they do some very cool cover songs, like All About That Bass and George Michael's
Right.
Faith. And they call themselves Swamp Funk, and they have background singers. And anyway, you got to check them out.
Sure.
I'll spare it on that. Well, I think we've been talking enough. I don't know how many people want to keep hearing us. I do know that Magpie Jones, I think that's what she's going by now.
Yes.
She commented to just let us know that she heard me compliment your vocabulary and for you to describe the album art with flattering terms.
Well, I try. Thank you very much,
You
Maggie.
did. So she's brimming with joy for you.
Excellent.
Again, the album art is absolutely terrific. I'm a big fan, and I might reach out to her myself. So it is Maggie Parsons, but did she keep Parsons? You said she just got married?
Oh, I'm not sure. I know we talked about it, but I'm not sure where we landed on that.
Because her Facebook is Magpie Jones. So anyway,
Yeah.
for now, Maggie Parsons
Right.
at Instagram, and it's Magpie Woodland Arts. It's really great. We're listening to the album Happy Crappy by Reese Hoeg, long O, pronounced Hoeg. And we're going to get to the crappy part.
Yeah.
So that was the happy part. Now we're
Yeah.
going to get to the crappy part.
This is the melancholic half of.
So tell me a little bit about it. I mean, were you just like, fighting your bipolarness? Or what happened?
For a while, I was making happy music, which was really confusing to me because I don't do that
'Cause you're
typically.
not happy?
Yeah, no, I'm
Sorry,
one of the
man,
most
it's
dissatisfied people you'll ever meet. No, and I ended up with this kind of eclectic group of songs, and I was just like, wow, there's no real vibe here. And then I realized that, it was two different kind of, it was like two sides of the same coin, more or less. And I thought it was a great pairing. I was rereading Stephen King's The Stand at the time, and there's a character
The
in it.
unabridged version?
Yes. Oh, man.
It's amazing. I've read it a couple of times.
It's
Big
incredible.
Fan, yes.
Yeah, and there's a character in it called the Kid, and he says stuff like, enough of this happy crappy. And I just thought that was such an amazing phrase. Stephen King always just has zingers like
I'm a
that.
big fan, yeah.
Yeah,
Big fan.
yeah. And I thought that was such a great concept to kind of roll with. So,
Very cool.
and that was, it was really indicative of how I was feeling at the time as well. So,
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I like it. Let's listen to a little bit of Reese dealing with his inner demons. So this is the crappy from Happy Crappy. We're going to start with Ghost.
seems to me that the very last submarine to brave this coral reef never resubmerged. I don't know if you knew this, but I am in complete control, taking myself this far and my body still floats. And it seems to me that the very last submarine to brave this coral reef never resubmerged. And it seems to me that the captain of that ship was the bravest man with a plan that never worked. Save me if you can from a devastating fate. I'll be lost in the devil's triangle and welcomed at the gates with open arms. Never say that again. I'll stay in the sea for some time. Never say that I won't come back just to see what I'll find. And it seems to me that the very last submarine to brave this coral reef never resubmerged. And it seems to me that the captain of that ship was the bravest man with a plan that never worked. It seems to me that the very last submarine don't leave me alone. Take me to Missoula, yes, carry me home. We've seen the leafy sidewalks down University Way. We've walked the river trail past Brennan's Way. We floated the Clark Fork from Old White Trash Beach, past Jacob's Island to Madison Street. Lover, oh lover, don't leave me alone. Stay here in Missoula, yes, stay here at home. In every bar on Higgins Street and all that's around, he drank from my glass and then shot me down. And every time I stumble home by the light of the moon, I'll be dead and lost just thinking about you. Sweetness, oh sweetness, you left me alone, alone in Missoula, alone in our home.
Wouldn't go as far as calling it crappy, but it definitely is kind of a difference in, like feel for sure. And
Sure.
that one was Alone in Missoula.
Yeah.
Are you alone in Missoula, Reese?
Well, no way. I have a ton of friends. Not currently seeing anybody, but tons of friends. Yeah.
Well, that won't last for long after you're on this show.
I suppose.
So you're being endorsed by the Agreeable Bassist.
Right.
You're playing your solo music on air to like dozens of listeners.
Yeah.
This is.
It pretty much ties the whole thing together, doesn't it?
It does, man. It won't be long, dude. No, that was really good, man. I
Thank
liked
you.
it. Tell me a little bit about Alone in Missoula. What was your influence and inspiration behind that?
Alone in Missoula was meant to be a sad song. I'm a huge Tom Waits fan, and I'm always...
Yeah, I see the shirt.
Yeah.
Me too, man.
Yeah, I'm always really fond of how he can do something so simple and say so much with so little. It can just be him and sitting there with a guitar or piano and just speaking his words and even playing it in a way that you've heard played a dozen times before, but there's something about it, the way that he does it, that makes it completely unique. So, in writing, I often emulate him because he's basically my musical father. And that song was meant to be. It was essentially meant to be a love song for a girl, but it's meant to be juxtaposed, or I guess like transitioned into a place where it's not necessarily a love song for a girl, but it turns into a love song for Missoula. And I do love Missoula very much.
Yeah,
it's deep in my heart. So, I'm really pleased that I was able to turn it into a proper song, and it's a crowd pleaser when I play it for people that can hear what I'm saying.
I enjoyed it. And you're talking about a Tom Waits influence. You're wearing a Tom Waits shirt. For that, he's the real deal. So like, what other influences do you have? You're pretty eclectic and mature in your influences. You mentioned Pink Floyd,
Right.
Talk about Tom Waits. Like, what else is there?
I feel like they often go hand in hand, but I'm a huge Leonard Cohen fan as well.
Oh man, me too, man.
Yeah, those are my main three when it comes to the solo stuff that I did. But when I was younger, and especially in Easter Island, I emulate Interpol a lot. Particularly the album "Turn on the Bright Lights."
Mm-hmm.
I think that album is absolutely wonderful. It might be my favorite album of all time. I really love the way that they approach their music.
I'm not familiar with them.
Okay, I would recommend checking them out. They're pretty incredible.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a note in my phone right now.
Okay, great. When I first got started, I really tried to emulate Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. I always really appreciated how they tried to incorporate a lot of different instruments and stuff into their repertoire, and it was really cool how they were able to kind of balance all those sounds. I learned a lot from listening to Massive Attack, a lot about like building up an atmosphere in a song, kind of taking your time with the sound and letting it develop over the course of a song. I also emulate the Pixies as well, and I don't think there's anybody that doesn't in this day and age. It feels like, I mean, they're grandfathers of rock and roll at this stage, so they're a huge influence as well.
Yeah, I love them. Did you see them when they came?
I did, absolutely. It was a dream come true.
That's really cool.
I got to see Radiohead like 3 weeks before that as well in Columbus, Ohio. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, I knocked off like 2 of my top 5
man.
bands that I wanted to see before I die.
Very cool. I'm a big
in like
Radiohead
a
fan.
month.
I saw them in REM like back in the 90s.
Wow, what a pairing. That's amazing.
It was.
That's super cool.
Man.
Yeah. I wanted to plug real quick, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
We did our Easter Island recording with Levitation
Yeah, I was
recordings.
gonna ask that. That's what Matt said. He said you guys were with Levitation.
Yeah, so we did it with Jacob Chadwell. He's a really amazing dude. I loved working with him. I love hanging out with him. He's a fellow whiskey connoisseur, and he also likes White Claws, so we get along very well.
I like White Claw too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a fantastic experience working with him.
Experience?
Oh man, it was great. He has a very kind of old-fashioned feel with the way that he approaches things. I believe he
does a lot of analog stuff.
He does, yeah. I think he works with Pro Tools, so he has a analog to digital converter.
Is it
I
like
think.
a reel to reel? Is that what he's recording on?
Yeah, I think that's what he does initially, and then it converts into his computer, so it's like something that he can use in Pro Tools immediately. So I believe we're working with 16 tracks when we're doing it with him. So not that we did any songs that needed 16 tracks, but if we had that option, I suppose. And fortunately, we were able to bang out most of our songs in a single afternoon. We had rehearsed them well enough, and we tried to just keep it fresh and interesting.
How'd you guys do it? Did you record the whole band without vocals and then overdub vocals and lead guitar?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we did. Yeah, we tried to keep it as simple as possible because I guess Jake had heard us quite a few times live, and he thought that would be the best course of action. And
usually is.
Yeah, and we all believe in our music. We believe that we have a good sound and that we can produce something that's good in our rawest form. So I thought that was a good approach for it.
I'm excited to hear it. So I guess you kind of told me some of the hiccups in getting the EP out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea for a timetable?
I would hope before March of next year.
Wow.
So first,
is it already recorded and mixed? Is it not mixed and mastered?
It's mixed and mastered. I really want to make sure that we're all doing it properly. And another aspect of it that I want to make sure and secure is that there's like a proper release party for it. So I would want to, secure a venue and then make sure that there were some bands involved that are close to us that are, I would like to give them ample time to prepare and just, I don't want to rush the thing, I guess is what I'm saying.
And you're doing an EP, right? That's what you're gonna release?
5 songs.
How are you going to release it? Like what format?
I believe at the moment we would love to get CDs pressed. I think we're going to do a limited cassette release.
That's his deal. He's real big with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'd love to put it on Bandcamp as well because I just think that's a wonderful platform to get your music out there.
Wonderful platform, and then people can actually buy it.
Yeah,
you can earn a little bit, but you're not thinking vinyl. You're just thinking like,
man, that would be a dream come true for me. I know that it's kind of difficult to, or at the very least expensive to make that happen. So
you might save that for your LP,
right? Yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah. So. I'm really excited about it, though.
That's cool.
Like I said, the whole thing is just basically a dream come true. So
it's funny. I got for my birthday, I'm trying to build a record collection, and so I got one of those vintage looking all-in-one record players. It's really cool. The one
I used to have one of those,
but it's got a tape player in it,
right? And
I've been having these tiny plastic stars and a charcoal squids tape that was recorded at Levitation.
Yeah,
and I've carried it around forever. And then so I got it day before yesterday. And I played one of those tapes. And
nice.
I can't tell you, it's probably been 20 years since I played a cassette tape.
That's awesome.
It was cool, man.
That's
fantastic.
Sounded great. Yeah.
It sounded great.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. So
I wonder how that happens. Like, how do you put it on a cassette tape?
I think this is speculation, but I think he has just a reel-to-reel recorder, and you just play it. And then
I guess so.
It's kind of old school style where you might record something off of your radio.
I guess so. Yeah. Did you have cassette tapes, or are you too young for that?
No, I got my start on cassette tapes. Actually, I used to have like a stereo recorder that I recorded cassette tapes. So I had one mic for my guitar and one mic for my vocals. And
cool.
This was when I was like 13 or 14 or 15, and I had these from day one, I picked up the guitar and then wanted to start recording stuff because I don't know, I just wanted to get something down, and that's what I started doing. And I would just record these things and give it to my mom. I have no idea where they're at now, but she's been my biggest fan all these years. So yeah,
that's really good.
She came to my Free Cycle show, actually, the one that KFGM put on.
Awesome.
That's the first show that she came and saw me at, and she was really pleased.
I bet she was. Man.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to share the stage with you on Friday.
Yes, absolutely.
Is Mom coming to that one?
I think she's thinking about it.
We'll remind her that there is a walking taco bar.
Right.
There's 3 bands.
Right.
There is refreshments, desserts, and a comedian.
Yeah, and I think she prefers the early night. So.
And she prefers the early night.
Yes.
So just please remind her of that.
Okay.
As I'm reminding all my listeners of that as well.
Right.
So it should be pretty great.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. So how long how long do you plan on your set being?
Oh man. We can basically tailor it to.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, I guess we haven't. We can play for probably an hour and a half. I would
That'd
say
be way too
we haven't.
long.
Yeah.
So we didn't even talk about that. So we're trying to put in 3 bands and like finish early. So let's go ahead and say I want you guys on at 7:15 on the nose.
Okay.
And then let's cut you at 8.
Great.
How does that sound?
That
Like
sounds wonderful. We
45
can
minutes?
pack in a hard 45 minutes.
Yeah, like a hard. I probably should have planned that out a little bit better. So we're gonna have Dwayne start at 7, and then I want him ending at 7:15, where you guys come right on.
Perfect.
And then Fate's Fortune. They are going to definitely need to change out everything, and then Dwayne's going to kind of fill that empty space with some ha-has,
Right.
and Matt's going to play some backing tracks to that.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Dwayne as well. I saw him over at Flavatown, a show that we played at.
Was he playing guitar on that one?
No,
was
he had
doing
a
comedy?
laptop that he was using that night. But yeah, it was really funny, and I'm pleased that I get to see him again and that we get to collaborate again.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited. He played me some of his music, and so I'm trying to find an opportunity to get him involved from a musical standpoint.
Right.
I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I'm curious to see where it is.
Sure.
I know that he performs with another performer, a woman, I believe.
Okay.
I don't recall though, but I'm
Gotcha.
excited to kind of see if we can find a spot for that. I like it. I think he's
Yeah.
really talented,
Absolutely.
and I'm really excited to hear his comedy and have him host, and it's going to be a really great time.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Perfect Friday evening.
I think so too, man.
Yeah.
That's great. So everybody, come to Free Cycles.
Yeah.
Reese Hoeg, Long O approves. All right, he approves.
Yes, indeed.
Excellent. All right, so 724. You're listening to 105.5 LPFM, KFGM Missoula, Missoula Community Radio, and as always, streaming 24/7 at 1055kfgm.org. I will record this and put it on my YouTube channel, put it on Facebook in a few days. No major rush on that. But as always, every KFGM show, every Agreeable Bassist show is available for 13 days on Radio Free America. So just so you know.
Perfect.
We'll take this time to remind everybody about the Missoula Food Bank. Missoula Food Bank provides emergency food assistance and child nutrition programs to all individuals and families in need here in Missoula County. Located at 1720 Wyoming Street, Missoula Food Bank is open Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Wednesday and Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Your donation of food, funds, or time will help keep our community nourished. If you need emergency food assistance, would like to make a donation, or want more information, call 549-0543 or visit the website at missoulafoodbank.org. That's area code 406-549-0543. I still don't get used to that because, the one area code here, we just skip it.
Right.
And I still have a Houston phone number, so
Gotcha.
anytime somebody asks for my phone number, I start giving them the area code first, and then they're like, "Oh," and it's always something.
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool, though.
Totally.
Excellent, man. So what do we got next? We're going to listen to Like Tears in Rain, and obviously because of the fonts and then Rucker Hauer type pose sitting there, I asked you, this seems like Blade Runner. Tears in the Rain, that was his great speech that makes every grown man cry
Yes.
at the end. I much prefer the director's cut.
Same. It's my favorite movie of all time.
Is it now?
Yes.
What'd you think about the remake?
The sequel, the 2049.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was really good. They really did a good job. I enjoyed it too.
I was very pleased. It was really long, but every moment was worth it. So
that's good. I'm glad to hear you say that. I like it too, and a lot of people were upset about the pacing, but that's the whole point. I mean, it's a think piece,
Right.
you know. And Jared Leto was just wonderful, and I only think he had like 2 scenes in that whole movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was fantastic. I almost forgot that he was in it even.
Yeah, he just had like 2 scenes. He was just really great.
Totally.
I really enjoyed it. I know Ridley Scott produced it, and the director was what's his name?
Dennis Villeneuve,
Yeah,
something like that.
Villanueva.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce
Yeah,
that.
I believe it's Villanueva,
Canadian, right? French Canadian, I
I
believe.
think, you know, that I might be pronouncing it wrong. But
I'm not sure.
I think you're right. But he also did the Alien movie with Jeremy Renner and Amy Adams, the one that was in Montana.
Oh, Arrival?
Yes.
Is that what? Yeah, I haven't seen
Was
that
it
one.
Arrival?
I think it's Arrival.
I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen was in one called The Arrival. But anyway,
Right.
it was absolutely incredible. You should check it out
Okay.
because it's actually partly based in Montana.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And
Well,
it's-
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's-
and it's a linguist, Amy Adams from Montana.
Right.
Anyway, it's just really wonderful. Another really great atmospheric think piece that's not dominated by you know, special effects and action, although it does have a lot of that in
Sure.
it. It's just paced really well.
Yeah.
And then you saw it in the new Blade Runner.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, great, man. So I'll quit talking about that and let you talk. So tell me about Light, Tears, and Rain.
It started out essentially as a concept album about Blade Runner. I mean, I thought that there was all sorts of great, I don't know what you want to call it, humanistic dilemmas that are presented in the film, and I thought that would be a lot of fun to address, you know, from a lyrical standpoint. And at the time as well, and still, I was listening a lot to the soundtrack, a really marvelous soundtrack done by Vangelis. He's the same guy that did Chariots of Fire. He won an Academy Award for that. He's a really well-respected musician in the soundtrack circle, and he was in a progressive rock band back in the 60s, too, that I've listened to a little bit, but it's not quite the same as the stuff that he did with the soundtrack work. So anyway, I spent a long time listening to his soundtrack, and I just think that's one of the strongest points of the movie as well. Is it's so immersive.
It is.
Such a beautiful just arrangement of music, and I kind of wanted to capture that feel. I'm not sure that I did it justice, but I'm still really proud of what I came up with. Over the course of the, you know, kind of plunging into these concepts and trying to figure out how I felt about them and how to write about them, I definitely spent a lot of time exploring my own life situation, and I was going through my own tumultuous stuff at the time, and it was the first time that I had ever lived by myself, and was, you know, dealing with the typical angsty 22-year-old what do you call that? Whatever, just all the stuff that happens with your friends, you know, all that kind of stuff, all those
First
difficult
world problems.
Yes, everything that occurs between people that makes it difficult to be a human being, and I thought it all just kind of came together really nicely, and I'm really proud of what I was able to come up with here. So at this stage, the early Reese stage, I would call this my magnum opus.
My very first band was called Magnum Opus.
Oh, great!
We
Yeah,
really were.
it's a great phrase.
We picked it out of a dictionary.
Okay.
I'm joking. We just opened it, flipped the pages, pointed. That's what it was.
Perfect. There you go.
All right, so we're going to listen to Light, Tears, and Rain. Our first song is Very, Very Brightly. Enjoy.
I've seen some things you people wouldn't believe. That day I came to be, and all I am is what I saw before I died. I dreamed we lived for many years, and when we died it was because we wished for death. I woke, I smelled our decay, ticking days away till we are dust. I've seen out there beyond the gate, the stars illuminate your dying eyes. I feel what they call love for these others who will join me choke. I drink of this life, this fountain that poisons with its gift. And so, all those moments that we lost in time, like tears in rain. Each time I look at myself in the mirror, I see myself darkly, my image no clearer, and I can't flee what I see. Could
Sweetness, I'm dying. In fact, I'm nearly dead. We don't have much time, my dear, and you're running out again. Sweetness, I know you. I know that you're dying too. We can find a way, my dear, if you just let me talk to you. Sweetness, we're dying, just like everyone else. We have burned so bright, my dear, now I'm burning by myself. Sweetness, I'm dying. In fact, I'm already dead. I guess this is goodbye, my dear. I hope to see you again. God said you would come to me and bless me in my sleep. He said you would touch my mind and live in my memories. I heard you just the other night when you thought I was asleep. I heard you play some music that I think you wrote for me. You left before morning, galloping into the night. But I don't think I'll miss you much, 'cause you'll always stay in my mind. Among the green the other day, I tried running free, and in my breath I think I felt that you were following me.
Man, that's really cool.
Thank you.
The keratin cornucopia.
Yes.
Pretty good whistling there.
Thank you.
Did you have some effects on your vocals? A little reverb in there?
Definitely reverb.
Yeah.
Huge reverb fan. Any inconsistencies that comes up with the technical process of recording, I just try and cover up with reverb. So
I like it. I like it.
I think that's a good trick.
Well, that was good. I mean, it kind of reminded me. I heard kind of a little Leonard Cohen influence in that. It's
yeah.
kind of what I felt. And,
Absolutely.
what was the motivation behind that one?
That song's kind of about dealing with mortality, and then also dealing with maybe like a tumultuous relationship with somebody that you're in a, I don't know, I guess it could be any kind of relationship with, but specifically in this situation it was something resembling a romantic relationship. So
How old were you when you wrote that song?
I was 21.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. deep in the middle of college, deep in the middle of some really heavy, important relationships at the time, and
Boy, they sure do feel heavy, don't they?
yeah,
So-
absolutely.
Does it feel as heavy now?
I can look back on it and laugh, but when I listen to songs like those, I'm kind of glad that I was able to make like a sonic journal of it,
Yeah,
so to
good
speak.
call. Good word too.
Thank you.
God, you and your vocabulary. That's great. You captured a nice moment in time that you could go back and visit, and you could feel the emotion in it.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that something like that, can be very beneficial and helpful for other people.
Agreed. I sure hope so.
Sonic journal. I'm writing it down.
Excellent.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's good, man. I liked it. And before that, we had Lost in Time and Very, Very Brightly. So tell me about those.
So very, very brightly, I mentioned earlier that I had kind of a Miles Davis influence in one of my songs, and that's kind of when I first started this project. That's what I really wanted to do, was kind of start out with a really jazzy kind of. It was directly inspired by like the beginning of Kind of Blue, which kind of has like, I don't know, just descending chords, kind of like that, descending jazz chords, and I kind of wanted it to shift into a more electric rock and roll feel, kind of like it did at the end of the song. So I think overall I was kind of successful with it, but I would have loved to have done it with actual horns and stuff. So
I'm liking it. I'm digging on this probably a little bit more than I was on Happy Crappy. I'm digging on this probably a little bit more than I was on Happy Crappy.
As I said, I think this is my best work as a solo
I liked
artist.
Happy Crappy. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But this one here feels a little bit more heavy, a little more weight to it.
I was gonna say there's a lot of emotional weight that's invested in this guy.
You give me the word here.
Right.
You'd be better.
Yeah, and then Lost in Time is just another exploration of identity. Kind of, it talks about looking in a mirror and kind of struggling with what you see and trying to come to terms with that, and maybe being able to acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses, and not necessarily judging them per se, but just understanding that they're there. It's kind of a practice in mindfulness before I even understood the concept of mindfulness. So
that's nice, man.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. Well, we got about 15 minutes, and then Crawdad is going to come on from the Big Easy to the Big Sky. And who did I say he was going to be interviewing? River City Players. So two people from the River City Players. So that's going to be a great show. He called me today and let me know that he was doing this. He said he was going to take a page out of my book and interview some people.
Perfect.
And I told him that imitation is the highest form of flattery. And he agreed. He agreed. He thinks that I'm great. So I'm liking it. So what we're going to do here, Reese, is we're going to listen to 2 more songs.
Okay.
And then I'm going to sign off. And then we're going to close out with your final song. And so let's kind of be quick. So we got Involuntary Dilation of the Iris.
Yes, that's right.
Dilation.
Yeah.
It's not dilate. It's dilate.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Huh. So Involuntary Dilation of the Iris, A Man's Job, and Revel in Your Time.
Yes.
So be quick and tell me a little bit about that.
Involuntary dilation of the iris is easy because there's no. It's an instrumental. It's just a.
Is it about drug use?
It's not. not too much. It's about. It's basically like a culmination of motifs from the album. The next song, A Man's Job, is about maybe dealing with your parent figures, kind of questioning choices that they made when you were young. And being extremely judgmental, which you get to do as a son, I suppose, sometimes.
Okay, you have the ability to do that,
right? Yeah, and especially, I mean, under the veil of artistry, you can say pretty much anything you want.
That's
so,
true.
With as much love as possible. And the last song is definitely, again, a huge theme in Blade Runner and exploration and what death means. Revel in your time. I'll leave it at that because I think that's pretty much what it is. So
I like it. So all of this is it's a name your price buy a digital album. So whatever you want to pay for it, you will get this. Like Tears in Rain, I'm really enjoying it. It's a concept album inspired by Blade Runner, exploring themes related to humanity. So I'm quite enjoying it. So we're gonna go a little bit further with it. So Involuntary Dilation of the Iris. Enjoy.
protect him from harm. Let his muscles decay and break the bones in his arms. Show him that all there is the love in his heart that nobody will want, that will set him apart. Picture your son who can fit in your hands. His eyes are blue, just like his old man's. Imagine departing from that innocent child, leaving him alone and afraid in the wild. How could you sleep knowing he's so scared? How could you breathe when you are aware of everything you've done and all that he will see and never know because you left him in his sleep?
That's a pretty good guitar playing there, Reese.
Thank
on
you.
A man's job.
Thank you very much.
I like that a lot. It was
Thanks.
good. Well, man, so we got 7:57. That means that a little less than 3 minutes, I am out of here. And guess who's gonna be sitting in this chair behind me?
Mr. Crawdaddy.
Mr. Crawdaddy. It's Crawdaddy from the Big Sky to the Big Easy,
Yes.
and he's going to be interviewing.
From the Big Easy to the Big Sky.
Wait, that's right. I got that backwards. So from the Big Easy to the Big Sky, and he's going to be interviewing a couple members from River City Players. Is that correct?
City Players.
I'm excited. That'd be nice. So good. So thank you so much for listening. I made a joke that we have dozens of listeners. We actually have a few because when I did my base camp in Seattle, I met a lot of people, and I have some some listeners from Seattle. So I want to say thank you to all my Seattle listeners. Thank you to all my Denver listeners. Thank you from all my Southeast Texas listeners. Thank you from 2 German listeners that I know are maybe listening right now, if it goes well. They do sometimes. And anybody who might have stumbled upon us by accident. So this is the 3rd edition of On the Down Low Bass to Face. And today we are Bass to Face with Reese Hoeg, long O, H-O-E-G. And Reese will be sporting the bass this Friday at Free Cycles with yours truly, Jupiter Beat, Fate Fortune, Dwayne Rader. Show starts at 7. Easter Island's going to come on at 7:15, and it's going to be great. And I just want to thank you so much for joining me today and letting us experience your art and your music.
Thank you. It's absolutely a dream come true.
Dream come true. I'm
Yes.
a dream maker, Crawdaddy. I'm a dream maker. Well, excellent. All right, so we're going to listen to Revel in Your Time. It's the last song on Like Tears and Rain, and then Crawdaddy will be coming up next. Thank you so much, Missoula.
Thank you.
As the Agreeable bassist and Reese head off into the night, not the sunset, I'll let you know you are listening to KFGM, Missoula Community Radio, 105.5 LPFM in Missoula, Montana. We stream across the galaxy, across the universe, and down to Hamilton, up to Hamilton, Montana at 1055kfgm.org.